Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So today I'm going to pull out Sail and Sea again and use it in this pop-up box card. I've been wanting to make a pop-up box card for a really long time. This felt like the perfect time. So let's go ahead and get making. Okay, so we're going to be playing with Sail and Sea today, and I've wanted to do one of these kinds of cards. And I guess it is a card, it's kind of not a card, I don't know. It depends which way you want to go with it. For a really long time. It's a pop-up box card. So what I've done is gone ahead and cut the file out on my Cricut. This is a free file. I will link to it down below so you can grab it. If you don't have a Cricut, it's not a particularly complicated file. You could very easily print this out. It comes as a JPEG, so you could print out the JPEG and just trace it and cut it out and it would be fine. I obviously haven't done that because I've got the Cricut, so I haven't needed to. But then basically this is the shape. So I'll sort of show you. So the Cricut has scored all the lines. So I'm just going to go along and just like reinforce the score lines a little bit. So I'm just grabbing my scoring tool. So it's actually a very simple design. It's not complicated, and you can get dies that do the same thing. I know Lawn Fawn has one. I have a feeling there's another one that has it too, but I'm, down that Lawn Fawn hole and all, so that sort of tends to be where I know things are. But I'm sure other companies have them too. So I didn't do a very good job of that one, but that's alright. Okay, so there's the main shape of the box. So it'll sit like that. And then these fold down to kind of reveal other bits. So, and we can just decorate the panels. So I have pre-cut, and it's something else that comes with the file. There's like little panel shapes, and I'll grab them in just a sec. Okay. So the box will sit like this, and then we'll put these in the middle and they sort of hold things up. So it'll all make sense eventually. So I've pre-cut out these panels. I don't want to use these panels. These are kind of my guides for how I'm going to cut out bits and pieces from the kit, and we're going to stick them on top. So to start off with, I'm going to put some of these little insert bits together. So my idea here is we're going to use a lot of the stickers and a lot of the die cuts. That's sort of, sorry, none of the die cuts because they're actually just a little bit big for this. But as much as I can, I'm not going to use anything except stuff from the kit as much as I possibly can. So to start with, I want to use a bit of this paper, and this is going to go on the back plate. So this one will sit at the back. So I'm just going to sort of work out where I want to put this. Now this would be a really easy one to use actually I'm going to have it right on the edge. Yeah. It would be a really easy one to use the cloudy stencil with. This would work really well if you wanted to do inking on it. Like I said, I'm trying to use as much just straight from the kit as I possibly can. Grabbing my trimmer. Just trim that up. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size here because it's got some movement or some ability to kind of move around. As in it's not the exact same size, it's a little bit smaller. So because of that, if it's a little bit not quite perfect, it's okay. So I'm just trimming this out. So this first bit's going to be really simple because it's obviously just sticking on the back, and I do find that the back bit is easier to stick on before you assemble the box, because that way you're not trying to poke into something that's already been assembled. So that's why I'm doing this bit first. Go. Now the cut file that I've used, it also comes with this is the round version. There is a square version, so you don't have to have the rounded corners if you don't like them. You can have just square corners. Alright, and I did deliberately pick this kind of grey coloured cardstock because I thought it went really nicely with the kit, but it also still looked like sky and didn't look too plain or anything like that. So that's it's going to sit at the back, so I'm just going to glue that down with some glue tape. Before I do, that's just a little bit too sharp. Just a bit of glue tape. Put that all around the outside. Oh, now hold on. I've just remembered something. Before I do that, that's going to sit on the inside. So I do want this panel to kind of cover up where we stick it. So it is easier to do. It is easier to stick it down now, but at the same time, if you want the panel bit on the inside, you have to do it at the end. It's alright. It's not really all that difficult. Okay, so we're going to put the little, what am I calling these? Slat parts. We'll just call it a slat part. So I just want to trim these a little bit because I want this to sit a little bit further back. So just trimming that off. And then what I'm going to do is stick these down on just one side for now, because when we shut this up we'll actually be able to put the other side in. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue and then line that up with the crease at the back, and you can either have this up really high or have this down really low, and that's the fun of playing with this box. You can kind of change the look of it very easily by altering how high your slats sit or how low they sit, or if they've got a shape to them. It's a really creative way to make a card or a box, whatever you want to call it. So the next one I'm going to have sitting just a little bit lower, but I'm going to have that sort of, I'm not going to take any of the sticky bit, I need the words for all of these, any of the tab bit. I'm just going to stick it a little bit lower, about half the size, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, the front one I might have, we'll have that down just a little bit lower as well. So these all do have score lines in them, so I'm able to get the exact right size, but I do know that I think they're 7 centimeters wide, so if I just wanted to cut it, whoops, that was the wrong way. If I just wanted to cut it out of normal cardboard, I could do that too. So I'll have this one actually the exact same, sorry, dropped it, exact same height as the one just in front of it. And that way I can kind of have like a boat or something, just sailing along. There we go, so those 3 are in. Then what we're going to do is fold these over, glue tape on each of these tabs. I think I'm out of glue, yep. And then you hold these in their sort of spots. You hold them, not closed, but just put them in the spot. And then we fold over the tab on the end. And that'll then pick up the sticky, and then when you fold it open, you can see it's got those sort of bits on the side. So now we can close the box up. So I'll just grab a bit of scrap cardboard that I used just before. Fold that over. Again, big push. And there you've got your box. It'll flip open like this. Just making sure that both ways it sits flat. My panels are all in the right spot. These are straight. Woohoo! It's working. I'm very happy. Alright, so now I'm going to put that panel in. Now you're going to see it is still very easy to do this way, but it would have been easier the other way. Probably should have done that a little bit higher so I could have seen the water line. You know what? I'm just going to alter what I did. So I'm going to have that sit. I want that to sit just a little bit higher. want it to sit there. You can't see the bottom anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. I'm just going to mark that there. And just so I get those same curves, that's all I'm aiming for here. Just going to trim this off. I'm trying not to push too hard so I don't get it stuck, but so even though I had planned this pretty well, thought I had anyway, you can see there's still a little bit of room for being able to change your mind or alter something on the go. Stick that down. And there we go. And then when it's sitting up like this, and I'll put a zoom in, you can't really tell. Like, you can see that it hasn't gone all the way to the bottom, but it's not a big deal. If you wanted to be really, really pedantic about it, you could really easily grab like another bit of paper and stick it in the bottom, but I don't really think it needs it. I think it's fine. You're not going to be looking at that part anyway. It's going to be more this sort of top bit. All right, so now we've got the structure of the box. We can start putting some bits and pieces in to make this look like an ocean. This is why I'm glad I actually did keep this bit here, because I can use it to kind of help disguise some of these along the way, and the same thing with this bit here. Sorry, I'll get words in a minute. The thing I really want to have in is the lighthouse. You guys would have worked out by now, I love this lighthouse so very much. And the die cut, unfortunately, is just a little bit too big for this. So I'm going to use one of the stickers. Could use the digital kit as well. You could use the stamp, that's probably about the right size. But the sticker in this case is the exact right size. So I'm going to take the sticker off, and I'm just going to mount it on a bit of white cardboard. And it's because I don't want to use this as a sticker. I want to use it as a die cut. But I also would like a little bit of extra strength. So I'm just going to stick it down onto the paper, and I'm just going to fussy cut that out. All right. So I want that to sit on that back one, so it's got a bit of dimension there. Now, how cool does that look? Oh my God, I love this so much. Now I've just had a thought though. So instead of using, this is where it's fun. So you can, I'm gonna jump, and it's only because I know that what's in here now. I'm grabbing the rocks. There's like a page of rocks. I could have used any of those ones as well. Those ones just, oh no, same size, so that's fine. So I'm gonna grab these rocks. And I'm gonna have them, I'm just debating if I'm going to stick them on cardboard as well, just so that they have a bit more strength and aren't sticky. Yeah, I am. So I'm going to stick a couple of these down on the cardboard and just do the same thing, just fussy cut them out. And then we're going to use these to kind of make a cliff face. I sort of want you to think of it, instead of them being rocks, pebbles, they're a cliff face. That's where we're going. So I'm going to stick these down and cut these out. Alright. So I've got the 3 little rocks, and because we've used the grey, this will actually work really nicely. So I'm just going to put, now I find liquid glue the easiest thing here, and I'm going to grab one of the things that is going to make my life a lot easier. And that's these things. I love them. I have, as you can see, I've got plenty of them. These are the little clips from Hobby Hoppers. I love the little peg-shaped ones because they help hold things in place while I'm doing things like this. So, just going to work out which of the rocks the lighthouse is going to sit on. You've got to use your imagination a little bit. Like, I know these aren't exactly rocks, but imagination is a good thing. There's that one. Okay, so I'm going to put the lighthouse on here. Just about out of glue. Thankfully, I've got some coming. Down, and then just use the peg to hold it still while that's drying. In the meantime, we'll start sticking these ones down. So that one down first, and it is a little bit of see what you get, stick it down, have a look at it. Is it in the right spot? No, it's a bit too high. No, it's a bit too low. Just play around with it. You can always change it because it's liquid glue, so you've got some time to move it. And if you ever sort of put it the wrong side or something like that, you can just pull it off. Alright, so just to hold everything in place there, I'm just gonna put it a little peggy down. That'll hold that layer right. Oh, I so love the way that lighthouse sits out like that. It's just, the dimension is really cool. Alright, so from there, we can do the next lot. So kind of going to move to the next layer down. Now I want, this next layer to me is going to be a bit more of the ocean. You've seen me use the, what are they called? The bathhouse kind of things at least once or twice. I really want to use some of the other images. Got this one came out of the digital kit, but I'm really liking the idea of using a dolphin and having that sort of pop up with an angle. Now it's then got the slightly different shade or different colouring, so obviously I've coloured it in instead of it being from the kit, so that's sort of the only reason I'm a bit iffy on it. I'm just checking if that dolphin arrived anywhere else in the kit. I don't think it did. I think it was only in the digital kit. I do want to grab a couple of these, or one of these boats, so I'm going to stick that down on that white cardboard again, because we'll cut that out, because I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to grab one of the whales. Be the boat can maybe be there, and the whale at the front. Actually, you know what, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to do the whale and the boat, and then we can use the rest of them to decorate the sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut these out as well. Alright, got the boat and the whale. So the whale's going to sit at the front. Damn, that might be a little bit too, oh no, you know what I'm going to do? We are going to put some waves in, so I'm just going to try and, I'm just going to have a think if I want to use the wave patterned paper or if I just want to use just this, because I think I'm leaning towards just this. I'm leaning towards just this, so I'm just going to grab that paper trimmer back in. I'm going to cut this to 7 centimeters wide, because I know that's how wide my box is. Hold on, I need this still. I'm just going to cut. I'm kind of iffing between doing, just normal kind of waves with my dial trimmer. I think that'll be the easiest way to kind of get the finish I want, and because it'll look like waves. But we'll see. So I'm just going to cut a wave so it'll look like the ocean, and then cut another one, but I'm just going to cut it a bit further down. It's going to be a little bit of wastage. There we go. So then that one, so I just trim that off to sit as high as I want it to sit. So I sort of want it to sit about there-ish. We'll have the boat. You can either have the boat sitting in front of or behind. I'm actually going to do something a little tricky. Try and do something a little bit tricky anyway. I don't know if it'll work, but I would do this with a die. That would be how I would sort of, not prefer to do it, but it would be an easier way to do it, I think. But this still might work. So I've just trimmed a teensy little slit in there. Oh, that has worked. Cool. So I can have the boat sort of sitting in the water as opposed to sitting on the water or behind the water. So you can see it sits really kind of close in there. So to hold that in place, I'm just going to put just a teensy little bit of glue behind it. So it'll hold the little boat in place. And then I can work out the height for this to sit. Yeah, I think about there-ish. So just take these pegs off. Just use the pegs to hold the waves in place. And then I can just flatten this and just mark my line. I'm just going to trim that off with scissors because it doesn't honestly matter if it's straight or not. We'll put a bit of glue on the back, slide that in. Now Now if I've gone too much with the glue, you guys have seen me do this plenty of times before, I'll just rub that off with my finger. I'll just do it in a sec. Now I'm actually looking at that now and going, no, I don't like where that boat is sitting. So all I'm going to do, I've just pulled him out, and then I haven't pushed particularly hard here either, so a little bit of card surgery. I just accidentally got one of my tabs off, but that's right. So I'm just going to grab my eraser, just rub off a little bit of that glue tape, because I definitely didn't need it to be that high, but I'm not going to rub it all off. And I want that boat, I still want the wave in, and I want it in the exact same spot it just was, but I just want it to be a little bit further over. I've actually done that a lot longer, so if I need to, pardon me, move it over again, I can. So just try putting that back in again. You'll never notice, it's just a little bit of texture for the other wave, that's fine. Trying to keep the angle looking right, and it is a little bit tricky, a little bit fiddly. Kind of got to wiggle it around till you get it in the right spot. You got to look at it and decide, yep, that's where I want it. No, I don't. No, I want it higher. No, I want it lower. It is a bit of a pain, but the result you get with it is really cool. All right, that's where I want it. I'm just going to stick those pegs on again just to hold that down. It's not gluing. It's not sticking anything in place, that one. That one's just, it's just sort of giving the glue a time to push together. So for the very last one's where we want the whale to go. So do the same thing with the waves, but he's going to be sort of a bit more behind it because he would be in the water. Yes, I think I want it to sit just like that. I just want the tail to sit up a bit more. So I'm going to stick it just there like that. I'm going to do, you're very wrong. I'm going to do one other cool thing, and that is I want one of the seagulls. So I'm just going to grab this one, bit of cardboard, and I'm just going to cut him out because he's going to be flying over the top. Now he's going to be slightly out of proportion, I'm aware of that, but we can just think of he's just flying closer to your head. So the lighthouse is a long way away. The boat's a little bit further because it's sort of in proportion, I guess, with the lighthouse. But the boat and the seagull and the whale are probably slightly out of proportion with everything else, but they can just sort of be closer to you if you want to think of it like that. So I just happen to have some little bits of acetate that I have left over from when I was cutting my stencils the other week. So I thought ahead and made sure to keep the little bits that came out of the sort of stripy one I did. So what I'm going to do is just stick the seagull down on the end of the acetate, and then I can use that to stick or to make him fly. So I'm just going to put that down. Now that liquid glue should hold him pretty well. But I'm just going to put the little peg on him for a minute to dry, and we'll go back to the whale. I'll take these ones off now. That boat over again. Just kind of get the boat in the right spot. I just drew a quick pencil line there where the bottom of this one needs to be. So the whale will sit just there. And then yeah, we'll move the boat over just a little bit. Put the whale in. And you could obviously change the perspectives a little bit by having the slots in slightly different places. So for this one, I've got a really big gap between the lighthouse and the boat, but then not such a big gap between the whale and the boat. Now, like I said, this can be a little fiddly. Oh, that's so cool. So I'll just move that boat over again. Now the second one we did, the second little cut we did, actually joined up with the first one, which is actually perfect because I reckon this is going to end up sitting right in between the two. Right. Here we go. Oh, is that just not the coolest? Oh, I love that so much. Alright, so the seagull needs to go in. decide where I like at what level or at what little thing I want to put the seagull. I know I want him. So to glue the seagull down, I'm going to put a big strip of glue tape on the acetate. And then we'll slide the seagull up. Work out where I want him to sit. So I'm just playing with the perspectives there a little bit. Go about there. And then just squish it down. And I'm also really getting annoyed with this boot because I can't seem to find the right place for it. It just doesn't want to sit. So just move that again just a little bit. There we go. I think that's where it needs to be. And then I'll just cut off the excess acetate at the bottom. There we go. So that's the hard part of the actual kind of box. So we've got the perspectives all right. The boat's hard. It kind of needs to, I should have put this up just a little bit higher. Alright, so now we're going to do the actual decorative bit. So like I said, I've got the templates ready to go. And all I'm going to do is just kind of add in the different colours. So I think I want this to be sort of around here as a bit of a sandy beach. Very similar to what I did with my weekly decoration. So I'm going to grab the sandy bits and use the bit that I've already torn up for that. So I'm going to use the sandy bits around these sides here. You could obviously cut this paper using the Cricut beforehand, like using the Cricut to cut these shapes out, because I don't want to have to put this back through the Cricut. I'm just going to cut them by hand. It's not going to be a big deal. I'm just going to sort of cut out how much I need each time, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut these out really fast. And then the same thing with the ones on the bottom, which I'm going to do in a slightly different colour combination. Kind of really tempted to do the blue and red stripe because I feel like I need some red on this card. So there's my 3 bits for that one. I'm really tempted by these blue and red stripes, and then I can kind of add in some fun images around there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut 3 of these ones as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these shapes out, and then we can get to decorating them. Alright, so I've got those 6, sorry. So these ones will go on the front. This is where we get to get either the stickers out, so we can put some shells on here. I have a real want to put one of the, I can't even find all my stickers. Where have they gone? There they are. One of the marooned boats. I really want to put one of those on here. Was one. I've got them all mixed up now. Ah, there it is. It's hiding from me. So I'm going to put one of the boats. I can have it sitting on the side. You don't have to go completely crazy with this. You can have them just sitting, I say normally, you can just have it sitting normally. Or you can add more stickers. You can have it make it look realistic, or you can make it not. I'm going to make mine look a little bit realistic, and I'm going to add just a little bit of shadow behind the boat, because if this was sitting on the sand, there'd be some shadows. So I'm just doing that with just a bit of very, very light grey Copic. I'm also just going to grab a little, very similar to what I did with my weekly decoration, I'm just grabbing just a Copic and just doing a couple of little dots around the place for some detail. Not something you have to do, but something that's very easy to do. And then that's going to be the first panel. I am doing these reasonably quick now because I know this has been going for a while. And the panel's really just, you're just decorating. It's nothing too fancy. And you can, like I said, go as over the top or as simple as you like. I'm just using this as kind of sand. That's where I'm going with my thoughts. Then on the other side, I'm going to put a little life preserver. If it doesn't quite fit, that's okay. Life preserver, and then maybe a shell. Little shell. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put just a little bit of shadow behind these, just so they look a little bit realistic. And a little bit of dotting. Probably not being as careful with this as I should be, but. And then on the front, because I love them so much, I'm going to bring in a couple of those little beach houses. Go. It's just a couple. Might only do 2. Although I know that 3 is more pleasing to the eye. Do the 3. So I'm just sticking these down. I'm just trying to make it as even as possible. Okay. There's our 3 little houses. So again, I'll just put a really quick little shadow just behind these. I'm pretty sure when I get the finished product done, you'll barely be able to tell the shadows there, but it's the small details sometimes that make all the difference. A bit more glue. Go. If any of it's not sticking down right, that's where you get your little pegs. Hold that still. So there's the sandy bits at the beach. So then these bottom bits here are really just for whatever you want to put. You don't have to decorate these if you don't want to. You could leave them plain. I'm going to decorate them because I can. So I'm just going to stick bathing suit. I'm going to put a quote. Go on the front. So again, a little bit of glue. I don't know why I flick between liquid and glue tape. I find it fun. Glue tape is much easier in that it doesn't it doesn't get quite as permanent. I think you can always remove glue tape. But once it's stuck, you kind of haven't got any wiggle room. Whereas the liquid glue, I've obviously got some room to wiggle this. There we go. A couple of seashells on the side. Maybe that rope. Ooh. Back. Not the back, at the side, sorry. Now the back is a good question while I'm sort of thinking about it. I'm going to put something on the back, and that's going to be kind of where I'd write my message if I was going to send this to somebody. Which I'll do in just a sec. And then the last one here. I'm grabbing the stick. I'm grabbing the message in a bottle. Just grabbing a rock, stick, whoops, so beautifully and intricately cut, and a little bottle on the side. Couple of very small little kind of seagull shapes on the back of this. Is this one? Yeah. And they have been cut out, and so because they have been cut out, I'm going to use them on the background. You get rid of the dog hair that's stuck. they are very, very small. But because they're stickers, they just add in, like they don't sit flat on the background. They do have a little bit of dimension. So I'm just sticking them on the back. And then I'm just going to fold this all up for a sec and just give it a good push, because I'm not 100% sure if all of that's stuck. But by doing this, I can get that to kind of finish the sticking process. And then on the back, I want to grab from the very main sticker page, sorry. I'm just going to grab the main girl, have her sitting on the side. Sorry, that wasn't quite on the thing. And she's going to be my kind of, I'm going to write my message at the back here. So when you get this in the post, it'll look like that. So I'm going to pull everything off my page. So it'll look like that. It'll come out of the post like that. And then when you read the message, then you open it up. Sorry, yes, that way. That way. And then you've got this awesome scene card that has a little bit of detail with your sand, with your little boxes and stuff. That's just annoying. There's just a little bit that hasn't cut nicely, so I'm just fixing that up. But then if you have a look at it from the front, you can see the detail of the whale, you can see the detail of the boat, you can see that lighthouse and just how much dimension it has, and even just the seagull. Like, I know you can see the acetate, but he's just sort of flying along. I just want to change the angle of him. He's just annoying me. He's just sort of flying along, and it just looks really, really cool. And I love cards that are a bit more than you expect, and this is definitely something a little bit more than you would expect. So there we go, that's my pop-up box card using the Sail and Sea kit from Planners Anonymous. It just goes to show how much you get in this kit. I think this is like my third project now, maybe my fourth project, just using this one kit. Even if you just get the standard kit and add on the digitals, you will be creating with these kits forever. I still have so much of all of my kits left over, and I love it. I think it's fantastic how much you get. It's such fantastic value, and they're such great quality. I love the images, I love the colors. It's just absolutely perfect. So I hope you did enjoy this extra project again using Sail and Sea. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to be subscribed to my channel for all my future videos. I will link the SVG file for the box itself down below so you can grab it if you want it. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!